It was a quiet morning in the gym, but not the kind that soothes you. It was the kind of quiet that prickles your skin like a storm waiting to break. My nephew, Ethan, stepped through the door, his 14-year-old frame slight and careful. A faint scar traced down his neck, hidden under his collar, a reminder of the accident that left him relearning how to walk. Every step he took was deliberate, like he was afraid to disturb something that might snap. He headed straight for the corner treadmill, the one tucked away from the mirrors, far from the spotlight. Ethan didn't want eyes on him. He just wanted to move forward, one shaky step at a time. I watched from the upstairs balcony, my towel clenched in my fist, my heart tight. Then I saw her. Vanessa. She stood between the dumbbells and the rowing machines like she owned the place. Arms crossed, hair dyed, so blonde it hurt to look at. Her eyes swept the room like a prison guard. People dodged her gaze, moving like shadows. I'd seen guys twice her size abandon their workouts just to avoid her voice. Vanessa was the HOA president, the queen of this gym, and she ruled it like a tyrant. Ethan hadn't caught her attention yet, but I knew it was only a matter of time. He stepped on the treadmill, setting it to the lowest speed, barely a crawl. For him, it was a mountain. His hands gripped the rails, knuckles white, legs trembling, but he walked. His eyes stayed glued to the floor. I could see the sweat beading on his forehead, each step a VY Tory. Then Vanessa's head turned. Her gaze locked onto him, and the air in the gym shifted, like a wire snapping under too much strain. She didn't say a word. Not yet. She just stared, cold and calculating, and I knew something was about to go down. I just didn't know how far she'd take either, how far I'd go to stop her. The gym grew quieter, if that was even possible. A guy on the bench press racked his bar early and slipped out. The front desk clerk glanced at Vanessa, then buried his face in his phone. Even the music, heavy and pulsing, seemed to fade, like it was afraid to challenge her. Ethan didn't notice. He was too focused on his next step. Right foot, plant it, hold. Left foot, bring it forward, balance. His fingers clung to the rails like they were his lifeline. Then Vanessa moved. She didn't walk like a normal person. She moved like a judge delivering a sentence, her pristine white sneakers clicking on the mat with purpose. She cut through the gym, weaving past machines, straight for him. I was halfway down the stairs, my heart pounding, but my steps quiet. Ethan hated being fussed over. He wanted to do this on his own, to prove he could walk without someone hovering. So I held back for now. Vanessa stopped beside the treadmill, silent, just watching. Ethan's rhythm broke. His right foot dragged, and he glanced at her, just enough to acknowledge her presence. "Excuse me," he whispered, soft and polite. "I'll be done soon." Vanessa smiled, a slow, bitter twist of her lips, the kind you see when someone knows they've already won. "You shouldn't be here," she said, her voice sharp, no preamble. "This isn't rehab. It's a gym for people who actually train." Ethan blinked, his head dipping. "Sorry," he mumbled. "I just need a few more minutes." Her eyes narrowed. "You're wasting equipment, taking up space. People pay real money for real workouts. You're a liability. If you fall, we get sued. I'm not letting this HOA carry your broken body as a legal burden." I was at the bottom of the stairs now, my blood boiling, but I stayed silent, watching. Vanessa pointed at him, her fingers stiff like a command. "You've got 30 seconds to get off that treadmill, or I'll help you down myself." Ethan hesitated, not from pain, but from shame. He stepped off slow and quiet, his head bowed. I swore to myself, if she touched him after that, I'd make her regret it in ways she couldn't imagine. He stepped off like he'd committed a crime, like trying to walk again was something to apologize for. Vanessa stood taller, her posture bloated with smugness. The gym was a graveyard of averted eyes. A woman nearby slipped on headphones she didn't turn on. A guy by the cable machine wiped the same spot on his towel over and over. I moved closer, still silent, giving Vanessa one last chance to back off. She didn't. "Keep your mouth shut next time," she hissed, loud enough for everyone to hear. "You think this is a charity? You think you get special treatment because you limp around like a stray? This place has standards, and you don't meet them." Ethan tried to slip past her, reaching for his water bottle, calm, respectful. But Vanessa was faster. She stepped in front of him, blocking his path, leaning in with her teeth bared. "Turn your back on me again, and I'll show you what a real injury looks like." He froze. I took one step forward, and that's when it happened. She shoved him hard, both hands slamming into his back. Ethan stumbled, his legs buckling, and he dropped to his knees, hands hitting the floor to break his fall. Then, God help me, Vanessa grabbed a dumbbell, a 7-kilo one sitting on a mat. She didn't scream or hesitate. "You're not welcome here," she spat, and brought it down on his left elbow. The sound was sickening crack, snap, something tearing apart. Ethan screamed a raw, animal cry and collapsed, clutching his arm, now swollen and twisted like it had been hit by a car. Blood pooled on the mat. The dumbbell rolled once and stopped. Vanessa dropped it like it was nothing. "Next time, stay home," she said, wiping her hands on a towel. That was it. I didn't walk or run. I moved like the world had tilted toward her, my VY sound narrowing to a pinpoint. Vanessa didn't see me coming. She didn't even look at Ethan, still writhing on the ground, whimpering in short, breathless gasps. She was already turning away, like she'd just swatted a fly. I saw actual red, on the mat, on the dumbbell, on her hands. She finally noticed me, rolling her eyes. "What? You want to join the pity party too?" I didn't answer. I knelt beside Ethan, checked his pulse, his breathing. He was conscious, barely. "Call an ambulance," I told bystander. They moved fast, not because of my words, but because of the ice in my voice. Vanessa scoffed. "Oh, give me a break. I didn't even hit him that hard. Kids today are soft. He shouldn't be here if he's made of glass." I stood, turned to face her. She smirked. "What? Gonna sue me? Big tough guy wants to cry to HR." My voice was low, deadly calm. "You just broke the wrong kid." She flinched, but only for a second. I stepped closer. "Say it again. Call him weak. Say he's made of glass. I dare you." She lifted her chin, clinging to her crumbling throne. I said what I said. I ripped the towel from her hands and slammed it down so hard the floor cracked. She jumped, stumbling into the squat rack. "No more speeches," I said. "No more threats. No more HOA Queen Act." I grabbed the blood-slicked dumbbell and held it inches from her face. "You like hurting people smaller than you? Let's see how you do with someone your size." The gym froze. No one moved, and no one stopped me. Vanessa lunged, claws out. I caught her wrist, twisted, and slammed her into the mat like she weighed nothing. The crash echoed. I didn't finish it, not yet. Ethan was still bleeding, and he came first. But Vanessa wasn't done. She thrashed on the mat, spitting venom. "You're a psycho. You're going to jail. Touch me again, and I'll own this place." I grabbed her collar, yanking her to her feet. Her fear was palpable now, cutting through her perfume and sweat. "You already own nothing," I snapped. Her eyes darted to the crowd trainers frozen. Some recording, no one helping. She played her last card. "I'm the HOA president. I'll sue this gym. I'll blacklist your family from every neighborhood." I dragged her backward, ignoring her flailing. "You want to break, kids? Let's see what you bleed like." I slammed her into the squat rack. The steel groaned, and her body hit with a thud that shook the room. She dropped, gasping, clutching her ribs. No more words, just wheezing moans. She tried to crawl, coughing blood onto the mat. I crouched beside her, lifting her face by her hair. "You told him he didn't belong. Now tell me, how does it feel to not belong?" She whimpered, weak, her audience gone. I let her fall face first into the mat and stood. The gym was silent, broken only by the distant wail of sirens. Vanessa dragged herself across the mat, a broken puppet clutching her side, smeared in her own spit and defeat. She wheezed, "I'll press charges. I'll sue." "Shut up," I said, not loud, but it hit like a blade. She flinched. I knelt beside her again. "I gave you every chance. And what did you do?" I grabbed her right arm, a one that swung the dumbbell. She yelped, but she was too weak to fight. I pressed her chest into the mat and yanked her arm back. The joint popped with a wet crack. Her scream was primal. Then she went still, trembling, half-conscious, blood trickling from her mouth. I stood, breathing hard. "You don't get to walk out of here the same." I dropped the dumbbell beside her head with a clang. That's the weight of your choices. Sirens screamed closer. EMTs burst in, followed by cops, hands on their belts. They froze at the sight. Vanessa, bruised, shoulder grotesquely twisted, defeated. I stood tall, calm. "Step away," an officer said. I raised my hands. "She's not going anywhere." EMTs rushed to her, and she screamed when they touched her shoulder. "Good." An officer asked what happened. Vanessa tried to speak, but only whimpers came. She pointed a shaking hand at me. I stepped forward, voice clear. "That dumbbell?" She used it to shatter a kid's arm. I stopped her. "That's all." Someone whispered, "It's true." The officer looked at me. "You assaulted her." I ended her. I corrected before she did it again. Vanessa sobbed, mourning her lost control. I knelt beside her one last time. This isn't about lawsuits or HOA rules. This is what happens when a monster goes unchecked, and someone finally steps up. I walked to Ethan, still being treated. He was pale in pain, but safe. I gripped his good hand. "It's over. She won't touch anyone again." As they wheeled Vanessa out, the gym seemed to breathe again. By morning, the story was everywhere. Security footage hit the internet. Vanessa's venom. The shove, the dumbbell, my retaliation. It went viral, 1 million VYUs by noon, national news by night. People came forward, a woman Vanessa mocked for limping, a man whose gym pass she revoked for gaining weight, an elderly couple she tried to VYCT over Walker. Vanessa hadn't just ruled terrorized. The HOA scrambled, stripping her title, banning her from their facilities. 3 lawsuits hit, 1 from me, assault, trauma, medical costs. We had footage, witnesses, blood on the mat. But justice wasn't just legal. A clip of Vanessa's pathetic defense hair unwashed, voice cracking went viral. The comments tore her apart. Every HOA dropped her. A fitness brand erased her name. The gym hung a sign. "This is a place for strength, not cruelty." 2 weeks later, I walked back in. The desk guy nodded. I went to the squat rack where it ended, laid down my card, then picked it up. We weren't Leah VYing. Someone asked, "Do you regret it?" I met their eyes. Not for a second. She crushed a kid's arm and smiled. Now she knows even queens bleed. 3 weeks later, Ethan walked in cast on, head high. The gym was quiet, not from fear, but from peace. Vanessa was gone. Then we saw her, on her knees, scrubbing the weight platform, one arm in a sling, the other trembling. Her blonde hair was dull, her nails chipped, her power gone. She looked at us, then away, head down, scrubbing. I crouched beside her. "You remember the spot? It's where your crown cracked." She didn't answer. "No other HOA would take you, huh?" Silence. This is what it feels like when the power you stole becomes a weight you can't lift. I stood. Ethan nodded. "Let's go." He stepped onto the treadmill, the same one she'd kicked him off. It hummed to life. Behind us, Vanessa scrubbed, tried to erase a stain that wasn't on the floor, it was on her. We left after 20 minutes. As we passed her, I said, "You broke a kid with a stinking dumbbell. Now you clean floors with one good arm. That's balance." She didn't reply, but in that silence, I heard everything. Ethan smiled, his first in weeks. He didn't need revenge. He needed proof the world could be just. And that day, he got it. Justice isn't always a courtroom. Sometimes it's a gym mat under flickering lights, with witnesses, blood, and truth. Sometimes the monster wears sneakers and calls herself president. But when cruelty hides behind rules, and power humiliates the vulnerable, silence isn't strength, it's surrender. Vanessa's choice had consequences. We don't fight EVYL by becoming it. We stand up, loud, strong, until the untouchable learn they're not. That's the real weight we lift, protecting those who can't protect themselves. And when we do, we teach the world what won't be tolerated. So what would you have done? Would you have walked away, or made her bleed too? Should I have stopped at the squat rack, or gone further? Comment below, and let's talk. If this hit you, like the VY Deo to show you stand for justice. Subscribe if you believe it belongs to everyone, not just the powerful. Hit the bell, more stories are coming. And in each one, someone like Vanessa learns the hard way.